Hello, and thank you very much for joining Engage. Welcome to Opening Conversations around Racial Equity and Mental Health. I'm Kimani, a community outreach and training specialist at the Mental Health Association in New Jersey, and I am your co-host today. I am also a part of the FOC program, Families of Color. The Mental Health Association in New Jersey is a statewide nonprofit organization that strives for children and adults to achieve victory over mental health and substance use disorders through advocacy, education, training, and services. The FOC, or Families of Color program, addresses mental health issues on multiple levels. We offer a mix of virtual and direct family support services to help raise and increase awareness for the barriers that exist for families of color. I work within the community education department and the PEWS program, promoting emotional wellness and spirituality. We thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm going to turn it over to Faith.
Welcome to individuals who were here last time, as Kimani mentioned, and to the newcomers, we want to welcome you, and we hope you'll come back and join us next month and the following months. As Kimani mentioned, this initiative is a direct result of work that has been going on for years at the Mental Health Association, starting with the PEWS program. PEWS, let me see what it means: promoting emotional wellness and spirituality. Yes, I got it. So the work has been going on for a long time, and it has come to a point where we're kind of taking to that next level, where we are going to we're providing individuals, yourself, individuals who work with folks who may be in need of mental health care but are hesitant to actually do so for whatever reason, to be able to have that conversation, to engage them in that process so that they feel safe enough to be able to access the care that they may need. This Engage initiative has a twofold approach. The first portion of the program, as Kimani mentioned, we will be interviewing experts, and then put experts with quotation because we are all experts in our own rights, right? So I always put quotation marks around that word when I use it. But we're interviewing experts on various topics as it pertains to engaging individuals in care, especially individuals of minority groups or people of color who may have challenges as it pertains to addressing their mental health overall. So what we'll be doing today, we'll be interviewing Betty John, and I'll go into another explanation of Betty's name in a minute, because the way it's spelled is not how it's pronounced, right? And that also helps us in our overall cultural competency. Her last name is spelled Jean, and just seeing that word, it makes me go to Jean, right? And then what happens is that Betty's constantly saying, Faith, it is John, it's not Jean. So I just want us to be aware of how her name is pronounced. Betty is the director of the call center here at the Mental Health Association in New Jersey. And so we'll be doing an interview with Betty in a few minutes. Following that, we are going to stop the recording, and then we're going to questions and answers. So Betty, welcome. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for just pronouncing just my first name.
You're welcome, because I fell in that situation years ago, and I have learned.
Yeah. Sometimes I have folks that just think that that's I'm giving them my first name and they're waiting for my last name. So again, it's taught me to really ask questions, right? When you're not sure, not to assume. So yeah, my name has taught me many lessons.
Well, Betty, I look at your bio and I'm thinking, okay, if I start reading this thing, it's going to take up the whole 25 minutes, right?
Oh
so
goodness.
what I realized when I was reading it was that you're going for your doctorate in, let me see what you have here, counseling and supervision. So you're going for your PhD in that area. And so in order to qualify for that program, I know that you must have some letters behind your names. So that must give you some credibility here. So I won't read the bio. So this is who Betty is, and she is a wealth of information. So Betty, again, welcome. So we don't have a lot of time, so let's just jump in and start
Yeah.
talking about the New Jersey mental health cares. Can you share with us what New Jersey mental health care is?
Okay, thanks for having me. Thank you for everyone for joining and being a part of this conversation. I always get excited to talk about our call center. I do think that we are a resource that's imperative, especially in this pandemic world right now. So thank you for having us and just allowing us to kind of be a part of this engagement. New Jersey Mental Health Cares is the call center for the Mental Health Association in New Jersey. So under Mental Health Association in New Jersey, they have a call center, which is part of their advocacy unit of our agency, which advocacy is a strong part of our mission at MHA. So the call center really fulfills that advocacy piece. And so we advocate for people looking for services. We assure that people who are looking for mental health services, they can locate it. I always like to call our call center almost like a gateway into mental health services field in the state of New Jersey. And in our call center, the Mental Health Cares call center, we have several lines that serve different community groups within the call center.
Okay, so within the call center, is there different programs, for want of a better way, or services that are being offered under the umbrella of New Jersey Mental Health Cares? If you could share that.
Sure. So in the call center itself, we have 3 distinct lines. One of our lines is called the Peer Warm Line. It's a peer-to-peer support line for those who are looking to speak with and get support from someone with lived experience with a mental health diagnosis. So that line is offered to those who are dealing with mental health illness and who just need someone to talk to every day. And those services are available daily. For individuals, we also have our New Jersey Connect for Recovery line, which is a line dedicated to those dealing with substance use issues, either the individual with the substance use issue or family and friends who are living and trying to do life with someone who has substance use. We found through the years that the most people that call that line are family and friends who are at their wits' end and just don't know what to do with a loved one who is just who is dealing with a substance use issue. So our staff is there to provide support, whether it be to the individual seeking to get into rehab or seeking just to speak to someone with either lived experience or someone who is trained to provide support, or family members who are just looking to get an idea as to what can they do, what shouldn't they do, what's the limit, you know, who's going to help. That line is available to provide that level of support. We also have another line that's called the New Jersey Mental Health Cares Helpline. The New Jersey Mental Health Cares Helpline is a emotional support and information and referral helpline. And that line is specifically for those who are seeking mental health services, those who are seeking treatment, those who are trying to locate therapists in their area, therapists, psychiatrists in their area. And it's also for folks who are just looking for someone to speak to about their mental health and well-being. And we are able to provide a level of support because most of our staff are trained. They're either master's professionals in the field of counseling, social work. So our staff are able to walk people through. We don't have any lay people or volunteers on our team at all. All of our staff are trained, they're certified. So when you do call, you're assured that you're speaking to someone who knows the layout of the land, so to speak, when it comes to mental health in the state of New Jersey. And I think that's such an asset. Because mental health, honestly, is not an easy field to navigate, especially if you're new to seeking out mental health services. So our staff really do go the extra mile to make sure that people have more than the information that they're presenting with.
Wow, wow. Well, you know, I love that you actually really explained to us the three umbrellas that are under the New Jersey mental health cares. But one of the things that you said that really stood out for me is that it's very difficult to access and navigate the mental health system and its care. But one of the things that makes it even more difficult is the stigma that's associated with
Mhm.
mental health, right? And
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
things I know for a fact is that you have caring staff that helps people to feel safe in a
Mhm.
time when they feel the most vulnerable. Addressing a topic that, as we said, is not usually embraced.
Yeah.
So that's one of the key things that I can attest to from a personal standpoint that your staff bring to the table. Um, I want to kind of clarify this, Betty.
Yeah.
New Jersey Mental Health Cures, is it a counseling service? Because we don't want to mislead people in any shape or form.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Because people are looking for counseling services, and we help people to um, locate counseling services. And when I talk about counseling services, meaning a therapist that you can speak to, call, and make scheduled sessions for you to speak with someone. We do not provide that level of counseling service, right? The counseling, the services that we provide is more supportive. The counseling that we provide is more emotional support. If you find yourself in a situation where you just need some insight and direction, information and referral, we provide that level of support. But anything where you require someone to be scheduled to see someone every week, and to kind of discuss an issue at length, that wouldn't be services that we can provide. You will need to get a professional counselor, social worker to kind of work through, deep issues or any trauma, any grief issues. That's what we're there to connect you with, an individual that you can schedule and do extended work with. So we do not provide that extended counseling service. No, we are a one-time service provider. Although we have 3 different lines and they kind of do something different. You can call our Peer and Warm line and speak to someone every day, and they may engage you in conversations about what you're doing today. They may review with you what your wellness plan is, and just find ways to kind of support any other work that you may be doing with your own therapist or with your own psychiatrist. So we're almost like a supportive community in addition to any other clinical treatment that you may be receiving.
Awesome, awesome. I felt that that was very important for us to get out of the way
Oh
so
yeah,
people don't,
oh yeah.
there's no misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were describing the different services that happen under the umbrella of New Jersey Mental Health Cares, you kind of gave some examples of some of what happens, you know, who calls, etc. There's so many calls, different kinds of calls that actually come in. So what are some of the most frequent kind of calls that you receive? And do you receive calls that are really on a crisis level where people are really at their wits' end and need some support?
Yeah, great question. I tell you, I have so many examples of callers that call our line. Let me just say, there's never a call that is inappropriate for our line. I think anytime you're unsure, you're uncertain, our line is the line you most likely want to call. And you won't get an automated service. You'll get a live person who is ready to engage with you by name immediately. And our goal is to build rapport as soon as possible and make sure that you get connected to the service that you need. But in terms of the types of calls that we get, we like to, number one, we like to refer, we find that we're becoming a community, right? We have callers that have been calling us for over many years, for 10, 15 years, and they call every day because we have become their community, right? They need that support every day, aside from their own support group, aside from their own families, aside from their own therapists and psychiatrists. We're an added piece to their treatment continuum, if you will. So we have our regular callers that call every day, but we also have callers like those who call New Jersey Connect for Recovery, grandmothers who call about their grandson who keeps stealing money from them, and who they want to know what can they do to get their grandchild into treatment. He's stealing money from them, from her constantly, right? We get those types of calling the New Jersey Connect for Recovery, but we have to walk that parent to understand boundaries, and walk them through to identify what boundaries they do have, what they don't have, and to kind of orient them and prepare them for when that individual is ready for treatment, what they can do. So that's kind of, on our New Jersey Connect for Recovery line, some of the issues that we deal with. We have young children kids calling our line. A kid on the school bus calling from the school bus because there's a kid right behind him bullying him, right? And we're walking him through as to what to do, making sure that he's safe. And then when he gets home, we're speaking to his parents or his loved ones at our home to kind of say, hey, your son, called us, right? And so building that rapport and keeping that child connected so he can feel safe while he is in an actual bullying situation, right? We get people who are calling because they're looking for a psychiatrist, and we may ask questions about why are they seeking a psychiatrist at this time? And then they begin to share with you some things that are going on, and we're able to kind of assess, okay, that you're going through a difficult time because you just lost someone, right? You may not necessarily need a psychiatrist right now, but maybe you just need to speak to a therapist. And then they'll ask a question like, oh, I didn't realize, what's the difference between a psychiatrist and a therapist, right? And so in conversations like that, we'll be able to provide a level of psychoeducation to educate you about the symptoms that you may be presenting with. We don't diagnose, right? But we are aware of certain symptoms. If you are sharing with us certain information, it'll help. The information that is shared will help the specialist to be able to identify and kind of see where you're at and to kind of orient you toward a provider that would most fit what you're presenting with. We have callers who are calling because they just want to talk. They just want to talk. And they're calling our lines because they just are going through a difficult time. Maybe they're going through a difficult time with their husband or their child. Their children are transitioning in any way, and they just need help in figuring it out. We get calls from parents whose children are having difficulty in schools, and they don't know what to do. And so we help to walk them through the services available in New Jersey for children, whether it be through their school district, whether it be through Perform Care, which is New Jersey's service provider for children looking for therapeutic services. So we're able to provide linkage and information about that. Parents looking for their child has just been diagnosed with autism. And they're calling us like, what do I do? How do I support my child? Where do I go? You call our line and our staff will provide you, number one, they'll provide you information, they'll provide you support and direction as to where you could go to follow up with services for your child. Yes, we handle crisis call. We are also part of the New Jersey Suicide Lifeline. So our call center answers Lifeline and any crisis type calls. This reminds me of a young man who called us at one point because he was due to graduate from college, and he was not able to graduate, and his family was sitting at the graduation hall waiting for him, and he was calling us because he just felt horrible and he was contemplating ending his life at that moment. So calls like that, we never know what's going to be on the other side of the call, of the line, but our staff are ready and prepared to ask those hard questions. Are you thinking about suicide today? Do you have a means? So we're trained to ask those difficult questions. Oftentimes people may present with one issue, and it's my staff's responsibility to make sure that they're safe and make sure that the thoughts that they're having doesn't lead them to either hurt themselves or harm others. So there's many layers to what we do. We're kind of like a catch, a net, if you will, kind of filtering out issues, trying to make sure that people are not at the point where they're not at the point where they feel hopeless or helpless. Our goal is to make sure that people know that there is help out there for them. And Faith, I could go on and on and on and on.
Girl, I know, I know. And I'm just sitting here and absorbing it all because some of
Yeah.
what you're sharing was not what I'm aware of. Like, for example, that young man who was being bullied, I mean, that's powerful stuff right there, right? That you're actually sharing that he knew had a number that he could call to get the support that he needs.
Yeah.
And so the work that
yeah.
you guys are doing is huge and it's so powerful. So thank you so much for sharing those examples. Time goes by us when you're having fun because there's so much more we could actually talk about. But before we actually even end, I'd like to kind of one of the reasons why we're doing this is to help anyone who is here and others after watching this recording to realize that there is support out there, right? And that we all, as providers, it's imperative that we have a tribe. I call like the people that, and these are individuals who we can go to, like that young man. You're part of his tribe. He knew that if he called, he could actually get some help, right? So what we're trying to do is to help you as providers build your tribe. And so my question to you, Betty, is how can New Jersey mental health cares be instrumental in helping folks to build their tribe?
Yeah, that's a great question. New Jersey Men's Health Cares is readily available to provide support to any provider agency. Individuals don't only have to call for themselves. As a provider, you can call us and receive support or information for maybe your client. If you're a case manager, we're there to provide that level of support. I think it is important to have a tribe if you're a provider agency providing any kind of social services. Number one, I think it helps to normalize mental health and wellness and well-being. If we're able to build our tribe and have a variety of folks that can speak to the different issues that those who you serve are facing. I think we need to normalize mental health and wellness. And when you're able to provide people with our number, you're telling the folks that you serve that we value your mental health and well-being. And so this is a resource that we have. I think building your tribe also helps us to combat stigma that surrounded mental health, around mental illnesses. If you as a provider can provide that information, you're fighting the stigma. And I think to the people that you serve, you represent a very valid and a viable and a relevant resource for them. If you refer them, I think that has a lot of weight. And also, I think we're all about connecting people, right? It's about connecting people to the services they need and to make sure that people are whole. So anything that will connect people to help them have more functioning lives, I think it's important as providers that we're able to have a tribe that could reach out to whatever needs that someone may have so that they could live very whole and functionable lives.
Awesome, awesome. And part of that building that tribe is to build trust. Because again, when the people that we are referring people to should be people that we know are providing quality service and that they can actually trust. And so that building of that tribe, and that's one of the things that I love about New Jersey. New Jersey, there's so many programs. New Jersey Mental Health Cares, New Jersey Mental Health Cares is that when I refer someone to your services, I feel safe. I feel I can walk away and know that they're in good hands. And that is a tremendous gift as a service provider when you can actually refer someone and know that they're going to get quality care. So I really appreciate the work that you actually do. We're towards the end. We could actually go on for much longer, but there are just questions that I have. One, how do you protect callers' confidentialities? Because I think that's a big issue that sometimes people hesitate to call.
Yes, well, just like any other mental health professionals, we do not record any of our calls. So if you call our lines are not recorded, right? Our staff will let you know that the information is confidential to the degree that we just want to make sure that you're safe. If we hear any suicidal ideations, or if we have concerns for anybody else, to be safe in your surroundings, we'll definitely discuss that with you and try to get you the help that you need. But overall, everything that you do share, an individual does share with us, is confidential. We do not, if we do call you back for any reason, it's with a confidential number in any way, but everything that is shared with us is confidential. So to the degree that there's no suicidal thoughts or ideation or any homicidal thoughts or thoughts going on, it is all confidential.
Okay. So as long as the person is there's not a harm to it's not going to do harm to themselves or to others,
Correct.
up to that point is confidential.
Correct.
Really, what are your hours? So we've been talking about this great service, but we don't know how to reach you, and we don't know the hours.
Yeah. Our hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. For those seeking, or 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for those seeking mental health support, needing someone to speak to, generally from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 p.m., generally Monday through 7 days a week. 7 days a week. Some of the lines each may have their own nuances, but overall, the whole overall call center is open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay, awesome. And what's the number? If you could actually tell us what the number is.
Sure. The mental health cares line is 1-866-202-HELP.
Easy. That's easy.
202-HELP.
Perfect. Well, as I said, time goes by when you're having fun, because I know I was having fun just listening to you and hearing the wonderful work that you're actually doing. And
thank
there's
you for
so
taking
much
the time to listen.
Oh, no, yeah, really. I hope everyone really got something, if nothing else, just the number that even if you don't need it now, you'll have it somewhere that you can actually share with someone in the future, or actually use it for yourself if you need to access the services. Again, thank you so much, Betty, for being here, for sharing your wealth of information. And after this call, after this program, if anyone wants to speak with Betty or someone who is also from her team, we will introduce in a few minutes, Camille. After we are finished with the program, you're free to stay back, and we will put you in our room where you could actually speak with them. So again, thank you so much, Betty, for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all of your attendees today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Any support that we could provide your provider agency. If you'd like to be a part of our database, if you do provide any outpatient services, we would love to speak with you and connect you with our database, so that we can make sure that the constituents of New Jersey have relevant resources for them concerning mental health. Thank you.
Thank you.